Hey everybody, it's Vicki with Dementia with Grace again. Today is number 102 episode of our Caregiver series, and I don't know how many episodes this will end up being. There's lots of caregiver issues that we need to give a platform and talk about. There's a lot of things that go on in the life of a caregiver, whether you're a brand new caregiver and this has been thrust upon you, or whether you have decided to take care of your parent in your home or your spouse in your home versus going into a skilled nursing facility or an assisted living facility. And that is certainly admirable, absolutely admirable. And it's equally admirable to place them in a nursing home when you feel like that you can no longer give them the care that they need. So again, we have said that in other videos. I have said that in other videos. I don't judge either way. There are 1,000 million. Is that a number? There are a multitude of situations in any given family, and the way that you choose to handle those situations and the decisions that you make around that are very, very personal. No two situations are exactly the same, and whether you choose to help your person age in place, which means at home, either with you as the primary caregiver or hiring sitters around the clock, or if that care looks like doing your due diligence and finding the very best home, nursing home or assisted living that you can find for them. All of the above decisions have merit. I don't judge either way. I am an advocate of choice, of you being able to make the right choice that's right for your family. And so I support either decision. There is caregiver stress in either of those situations, whether they're aging in place or they're aging in a facility. And there are caregiving roles that are still there in both situations, and there's caregiver stress in both situations. Caregiver stress leads to caregiver burnout. And so that is the topic of our episode today, is caregiver burnout. There are lots of hallmarks of caregiver burnout, and we're going to talk about those today. This goes beyond just regular caregiver stress. This is when the stress has impacted your life in such a way to your health is compromised, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, something like that is compromised, and we need to get some strategies in place to help you address that burnout and reverse that burnout. It absolutely can be done. I can teach you how, and it is not something that you just need to plow through and just think, well, I'm just feeling sorry for myself or whatever. It is a thing. It is an actual phenomenon that happens in the life of a caregiver, and you don't need to ignore it. You need tips and tricks and hacks and strategies to get you over that hump, and we can do that. So let's jump in, okay? All right, so some of the hallmarks, some of the symptoms, signs of caregiver burnout are irritability, depression, anger, helplessness, all of those feelings, and we've talked about that feeling in the 101 episode of the Caregiver series. And we talked about feelings being visitors and not allowing them to be roommates. However, some people just don't have those, they don't have that in their toolkit, just to be able to have a feeling, visit and leave. They tend to get marred down, muddied up with that feeling, and they just can't let it go. So we're going to talk about that. But it can absolutely lead to depression, irritability, agitation. You can snap at the littlest things, and then you go to bed that night and you just feel so guilty because you snapped at mama or you snapped at your husband, and you love them with all you have and you're doing the very best you know how to do, but there's just some things that just are like fingernails on the chalkboard, and you just have to you just feel like it's that feeling. If that feeling could be physically expressed, it would just be like that kind of feeling, that irritability, that on edge, all of that is absolutely a symptom of caregiver burnout. So we need to do something about that. Having new or worsening health conditions of your own, being able to pick up any little virus, cold, stomach virus, anything that comes along, is a hallmark of having lowered immunity response. And that can be absolutely a direct response to stress, caregiver burnout. Sleep difficulties are absolutely one of the hallmarks that we see in caregiver burnout, where either you cannot stay awake and you just want to sleep all the time, which is also a symptom of depression, or you cannot fall asleep, that your mind is just racing at night and you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak. You're waiting to hear the bed alarm go off, or you're waiting to hear that bedroom door open or the light turn on. And here we go again. Mama's going to take everything out of her closet and lay it on the bed, and I'm going to have to get up and go in there and, put it all back to bed, put it all back in the closet and get her back to bed. Those kinds of things absolutely wear you down, and that is when you burn out. If you think about a candle burning, and there's a saying, you can burn your candle at both ends. Think about a candle that burned at both ends. And it's going to get really burned out quick if you light both ends of that candle, and they're just going to come to the end of that candle. That is burnout. That is exactly what burnout is. And that can happen fast, or that can happen slow. Usually acute burnout happens when there's an acute problem going on. An acute, A-C-U-T-E, acute problem, acute situation is something that has happened fast and is it's usually short lasting. Like the common cold is an acute medical condition. Cancer is a chronic medical condition. You're usually going to deal with cancer for a long time, or even if you take care of the cancer itself, you're going to have to watch it for a long time to make sure there's no reoccurring thing. So that would be a chronic condition. Diabetes is a chronic condition. Diarrhea is an acute condition. So those are the differences between acute and chronic, and some acute and chronic. And some folks don't know the difference, and I want to make sure, I don't want to oversimplify things, but I want to make sure that people understand the difference. So in a caregiver's life, an acute situation would be something like a new behavior problem. Maybe daddy's had dementia for 5 or 6 years, but just recently, in the last month or two, he started to have wandering behavior, where, heretofore in the last 4 or 5 years, his dementia has been pretty easy to manage, but there's an acute situation going on to where he is wandering out of doors. Maybe he's leaving the stove on where he, once did not do those kinds of things. So that's an acute stress that you can get a handle on and figure out, techniques and compensatory strategies to keep the door locked where he can't get out. We talk about that in the wandering video. Put some stove knob covers or something so he can't leave the stove on. I mean, there are compensatory techniques that we can put into place to help lessen the stress of that new behavior. So that's an acute situation. Chronic stress in the life of a caregiver usually happens because of the diagnosis of dementia. There's always something going on in the back of your mind, a worry about when is the next stage coming? Am I going to be able to handle daddy at the next stage? Am I going to be able to handle husband when he gets to where I can no longer keep him at home? And what does that mean for our family, financially, emotionally, physically? What is that going to look like? So that kind of chronic stress happens. So the way that we treat stress, acute or chronic, are pretty similar. You just need to know that, you need to recognize the hallmarks of being burned out, and then you need to be able to address those with different strategies. Okay, so we talked about irritability, anger, sleep difficulties, overreacting. I've got my notes here. New or worsening health problems in your mind or your body. The ways to cope are similar in both of those things. One of the things that I feel like helps with stress, with burnout, is knowing that you have the power in the situation. Giving yourself power over what's going on with you. A lot of people feel like that they're powerless. They're powerless in something. They have no power in a situation. They have no choice in a situation. When you feel like you have no choice, and that absolutely takes your power away. And you need to know that in this moment, you are in control of how you respond. You may not be in control, absolutely not in control of what happens to you, but you are absolutely in control of how you respond to what happens to you. And that should give you that should give you a little bit of relief to know, listen, I am in control here. I am in control of how I react to this situation. Being a caregiver is a choice. A lot of folks say, it wasn't my choice. It absolutely was not my choice to be, my sister's caregiver. There was just nobody else in the family would step up. And if I hadn't done it, she would have been, a ward of the state. That's an old-fashioned term. And, it happens, but it's very, very, very rare that it happens. But still, okay. All right, yes. So you made a choice. You decided, active, verb, that you were going to take care of your sister, let's say in that situation. Yes, you could have said, just like maybe your other folks in your family said, not me, my life's too busy. I've got kids in school, or I've got a demanding job, or I have a demanding husband or a demanding wife. My wife will not allow my sister to come live with us, that kind of thing. So you, in your power, made a choice to take care of her. Whether or not you realized it at the time that it was making a choice. There are alternatives. Listen, there are lots of folks that make the choice not to be the caregiver. Just like in this situation, in this fantasy situation that we're having, the other brothers and sisters decided not to let sister come into their home because of their spouse's defiance, or their workload, or whatever, fill in the blank. You made a choice to arrange your life around caregiving your sister. Okay? That is an active choice that you made, and you need to own that and be proud of it. That is brave. That is admirable. Something like that is something that you need to give yourself a lot of credit for, especially if there were other people that could have made that choice and did not make that choice. Now, don't hold that over their head. We will talk about siblings and family dynamics and things like that when you're taking care of daddy and you can't get sister and brother to do anything. We will have a video on all of that, because that's a strain in a family. But that's not what this video is about today. What I want to show you there is that you had the power and you made a choice, and now you can have ownership of that choice and have pride in that choice and say, okay, I had a choice and I made my choice, and now I'm going to move forward and have power in this position. Focus on facts, not feelings. Again, in 101, we talked about the feelings of a thing, and that feelings are visitors, not roommates. When you are feeling overwhelmed, you think about the facts behind that. What is going on in your relationship with your person that you're giving care to? What is going on in that situation that you can take control over? Can you take control over their day-to-day activities? When they get up, when they go to bed, those kinds of things. Can you assert some kind of control over those kinds of decisions? Yes, you can take control and put a routine in place, and we will talk about that with our GRACE. An acronym for Dementia with GRACE is Gather Important Details. R is for routine. You can establish a routine. You can take control and establish a routine that will make your day-to-day caregiving easier. I will teach you those things. When you have a fact that you've got to react to, maybe let's say daddy is getting up at night, he's wandering at night, he's going out of the door, out of the back door, and you're afraid he's going to wander off, which is a real possibility, or the fact that he is going to crank the car and go somewhere, something like that, and you feel it's so stressful. But there are techniques you can put into place to mitigate that stress. You can put door locks on the doors, child-proof doorknobs, and things like that. And look back over our past videos. There's lots of information about what you need to do. There's links to Amazon products that I have found helpful, or that I think would be helpful based on other products I've used, and I've linked those in those videos. Celebrate the small victories. If you got, if it has been a horrible long road to walk of getting Daddy to eat, and you have today gotten him to eat, celebrate that and say, oh, a victory, a success. I mean, not everything is a series of failures. You may feel like that because you may feel like somebody else could be doing the job better. I guarantee you that you're doing the best that you can. If you are on YouTube looking up caregiver videos, you have a vested interest in what you're doing for your person, and you're trying to learn how to do that thing better. That says volumes right there. The fact that you are here looking at these videos means that you are trying your very best to make the difference, make a good quality life for the person that you're caring for. That's huge. And don't ever diminish that. Don't ever diminish that. You're a good caregiver. I know that by virtue of just the fact that you're looking for information. That means you're a good caregiver. Internalize that. If nobody else tells you that you are doing a great job, I am here to tell you, you are doing a great job. You're trying to learn more about the disease, more about caregiving, more about strategies and tips and techniques. You are a success because you are wanting to learn. Okay? So if nobody else tells you that, I told you that. Now, give yourself a pat on the back, or get a glass of wine, or go get a manicure, or do something for yourself, because you're doing great. You are doing great. If your person was able to express gratitude, they would, more than likely. Now listen, I have a saying that old people don't get mean people get old. And there are people in the world who never said thank you to anybody, and they would never say thank you to you. And that's just the way they were knit together, and so, whatever. But usually people show gratitude, especially when somebody has done something very important in their lives, and taking care of somebody is a very important thing. So I think that most people would say a big hearty thank you to people who are taking care of them. So internalize that too. If your mother was still in her right mind, in her healthy mind, she would probably really appreciate the time, the effort, the expense, the physical burden, the financial burden, the emotional burden that you are carrying. It is a burden. Some people don't like to use negative language and say things are a burden. Listen, I shake hands with the truth. And let me tell you, if you are a caregiver, you have a burden. And I'm not saying that it's a negative thing. It can be a very positive thing. But a burden is just something you carry. And you are carrying, that doesn't sound right. You are toting, we say in the South, toting. You are toting a heavy load. That's a burden. Don't think of it as a negative thing. Just, it's a fact. That is a fact. You are carrying a load. Don't underestimate that. Give yourself some grace and say, yeah, this is hard, but I can do it because I know how to get information on how to do it. So, and so that will help with the stress. That will help with the burnout. Some of the things that you absolutely need to do for yourself is to caregive yourself. Listen, by now you're a professional caregiver. You got the caregiving stuff down. Now you need to turn that lens on yourself and take care of yourself. I say an hour a day a month, a week a year. That is my caregiving vacation time that that you need. Those are that time that you need to keep sacred. An hour a day a month, a week a year. Take that time for yourself. Get up an hour earlier or 30 minutes earlier. Go to bed 30 minutes later. Find that hour. Find 20 minutes 3 times a day that you can take just for yourself. Just a break, to take a break from caregiving. a day a month. You can hire somebody to come in for 1 day a month and let you go do your shopping, go to a movie, get your nails done, go fishing with your buddies, go hunting, whatever you need to do. You can take care of those things in a day a month. And then take a week a year. If there's some family that's not bearing their load, say, hey, listen, me and my husband are going to the beach for a week, and we need you to take care of Mama. Say it. Say it. Be in your power. Be in your power. Stand in your power. And say, I have decided to be a caregiver for Mother year round. So I need you to be a caregiver for Mother for a week. And if you don't have any family that's willing to do that, or some people are only children and they just don't have any family to do it, look into respite care. Just type in where you live. Just pull up Google, type in where you live, respite, and then make some phone calls and figure out how you can plan a week to recharge your batteries. It's very, very important. Very, very important. Laugh. I love to laugh. I love to laugh. I laugh all the time. I love a good joke. I love to watch videos on YouTube of cats and babies and people failing at things. People running into, running into a pole or something. Isn't that ugly? Is that ugly for me to say? But it just can be a stress reliever. I love YouTube. I love YouTube. That's why I decided to have YouTube as one of my platforms. Is because I have learned so much on YouTube. I learn a lot and I laugh a lot. And those are the two things I think that go absolutely hand in hand in caregiving. You're learning all the time. Balance that with laughter. I think that's a great split of that's great balance of things. Okay. Watch inspirational videos again. That's again a good reason to have YouTube. I listen to a TED Talk every night before I go to bed. TED. It stands for Technology, Education, and Design, I think. And it started out as those kinds of videos, and now it's all kinds of people talking about all kinds of things. And you can find some very inspirational TED Talks. Listen to some religious videos. Listen to gospel music. Whatever gives you a little bit of a stress relief. Use that as one of your 20 minutes. Laugh for 20 minutes. Pray for 20 minutes. Meditate. May have been a Freudian slip there. Meditate for 20 minutes in the course of a day. Use one of those 20-minute, 3 times a day makes an hour. Do one of those that gives you some stress relief. Number 3, and one of the most important things, don't skimp on your sleep. You need your sleep. Sleep helps with stress. It helps with depression. It helps with all kinds of things. And you need to get some good, uninterrupted sleep. If that means that you have to take, it's you for one night for vigil and your husband for next night for vigil to make sure that daddy's not up or whatever, do that. Just make time for yourself. Okay, I will drop down all these tips and things that I have talked about will be down in the show notes of this. It will be a blog post tomorrow on dementiawithgrace.com that will talk about these things. Certainly, if you need more physical support, if you just need an ear, if you need a shoulder and you can't get out of the house, we have a wonderful online support group. It's called Dementia with Grace on Facebook. It's a free private support group. Nobody ever has to know you're there. When I welcome folks, I don't even use their name. I just say welcome to the group. You can reach me a private message through that. My email address is Vicky, VICKY, at Dementia with Grace. I'm Dementia with Grace all over the internet. On platforms I don't even know how to use yet. I've got a spot there. So anyway, I look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, any concerns, any ideas, tips, tricks that you have used to help your caregiver journey, drop them down below. Somebody probably needs to hear what you have to say. We see you. We hear you. We know you. I know who you are. And I know how difficult this is. I have been a caregiver myself, a family caregiver. My mother did not have dementia, but she was in ICU for 9 months with adult respiratory distress, and she was, on a ventilator. And I was there every third night. I spent the night every third night. My daddy spent one night. My sister spent one night. I spent the third night, and then we did that for months and months and months on end. And so I know the acute and the chronic stress of caregiving, even though I have not had a person in my life with dementia. I have taken care of thousands of people with dementia. They just weren't kin to me by blood, but we're all kin in spirit. I believe that. And I want to help you take care of the person that you love. Okay? I love you. I see you. I appreciate you. I honor you. Stand in your power and make the hard decisions, and then be proud of the fact that you were able to make those hard decisions. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I promise you there is. And you will be so proud years down the road when you look back over this season of your life, and you will be so proud of what you were able to do. I know that, and I trust that that's going to happen for you too. If you have any questions, drop them down below. I'll be glad to get back to you, okay? All right. I love y'all. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I will make another video. Let's see, today's Monday. I'll make another video on Wednesday, this time on a dementia behavior, and I don't know which one it's going to be, but we'll have something up, okay? All right. Y'all take care, and I will see you soon. All righty. Bye.